आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
Ladies and gentlemen, now time for the nation's sharpest opinion. And the big story today is that the Supreme Court has put its own verdict in abeyance. Remember, viewers, on November 20th, the Supreme Court, through its 3-judge bench, led by the then Chief Justice, authored a verdict on Aravalli, bringing in a rule that anything below 100 meters is not Aravalli range mountain. A very strange order which would damage forever the ecology of the Aravalli mountain range, a 2 billion year old formation. But what the Supreme Court did between 20th and today's judgment is the result only of public opinion. I would like to start by thanking the Supreme Court for putting its own November 20th order in abeyance till further study. But even more than the Supreme Court, I would like to thank you. I would like to thank the people of India. I would like to thank the viewers of Republic. I would like to thank the 1.5 billion population of this country, ladies and gentlemen, for coming together as one and reminding everyone that there will be no asymmetry of power in this country, that the power is with the people. That's why we say here at Republic, power to the people. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the important thing is to acknowledge, is for everyone, whether government, Supreme Court, institutions, systems, state government, central government, lawyers, legal fraternity, and everyone to recognize that this decision of the Supreme Court to keep its own order in abeyance is an extraordinary decision. It does not happen ever so often. And the only reason it has happened is because the virality of the public campaign, the strength and conviction of the Republic Media Network, and the belief of the people that matters of ecology and matters of public interest have to have a strong level of media advocacy backing it. This is the only reason the Supreme Court has put its order in abeyance. Remember, they have not reversed it. They've only put it in abeyance. But it is also an acknowledgement that campaign journalism, activist campaign journalism, which is done with conviction on the ground, joined with very deep, very well thought out, investigative reporting, and then the conviction of an editorial team and independent journalism, has all come together to create such public pressure on the system that there is an acknowledgement today that beyond everything, beyond executive, legislature, judiciary, there is, most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, the court of public opinion. And we serve in the courts of public opinion. We are not the determinants. People say judge, jury, executioner. That's completely wrong. We are equal members of the courts of public opinion. And our job and our commitment is to drive public opinion in the direction that it can make a change. Today, I bow down to the strength of the people, the Republic Media Network. Their conviction has made the Supreme Court review its own judgment. Some have asked me, Arnab, were you trying to get an upper hand on the Chief Justice of India, Justice Gawai, when you interviewed him? No. But I was asking the former Chief Justice for clarity in ambiguities over his own judgment. And today, the Supreme Court has also asked for clarity in ambiguities over their own judgment. However, there are questions to be asked. I have 5 questions that I would like the Supreme Court, now that it has thrown things open, to ask. And my questions are for the Honorable Supreme Court. I hope they ask them. I'm sure Chief Justice of India, Justice Suryakant, will ask these questions. The first question that the people are asking is, one, the questionable timing of the judgment of Justice Gawai, The Supreme Court delivered that judgment accepting the revised definition of the Aravalli Hills just 3 days. 3 days before the former CJI B.R. Gavai retired from his position. Now, in such an important matter, I believe that we must not correct later, we must correct when we can. Otherwise, this retrospective action is not required. So first is the timing of the judgment. Secondly, precautionary principle. Acknowledging but not applying the precautionary principle. Viewers, if you would see our analysis, our research and our questioning, you would see that we raise the question of the precautionary principle when it comes to matters of ecology. And today in para 8, the Supreme Court refers to the precautionary principle, saying these cumulative obligations in international law require that a uniform and streamlined approach be taken towards the preservation and restoration of the Aravalli ecosystem, including regulation of the exploitation of the Aravalli Hills in a scientific and sustainable manner, guided by the precautionary principle. However, para 51 of the judgment stated, we accept the recommendations made by the committee with regard to the definition of the Aravalli Hills and ranges given by the Ministry of Environment and Forest. This reversed precaution, harm is allowed first, assessment deferred later, contrary to settled environmental law. Settled environmental law leans towards the precautionary principle. This was not, unfortunately, seen by Justice Gavai. Precedent was not looked at. Abundant caution, in my view, was not applied. Now, these are not good things. Everyone, the government must know, the judges must know, the legal fraternity must know that people today are very aware. And the media is very questioning, not interrogative. Now, this can be caricatured as loud. It's not loud. Very questioning, well-researched and aware, and more importantly, extremely confident about speaking up for the right thing. This abdication of the precautionary principle in the previous judgment, the near abdication, is something which the courts must not allow in the future. The third point I want to make is that the courts must also see the unseemly haste, what I call a license rush. A license rush, viewers. And I would like to elaborate a little bit on it. On 20th of November 2025, Justice Gavai delivers a judgment, redefines the Aravalli Hills. Between 2nd of December and 18th of December, reportedly at least 58 mining licenses are auctioned in the Aravalli districts according to sources. Now the nation wants to know, were 50 given, 58 given, or 100 mining licenses given? Why was there a license granting rush? We were here questioning the judgment, questioning what is going on, talking about the environmental impact. Activists were getting into the matter. At that point of time, was there a post-judgment license rush? What is today, therefore, we ask, the legal status of the licenses allegedly issued between late November to the present? Should the alleged December auctions also fall within the court's review? Will those be cancelled? The nation wants to know. The fourth point. I believe that the Supreme Court is not speaking enough about the ongoing illegal mining which has been exposed by Republic. These issues, and I have raised today, whistleblowers are being targeted, big cement companies are threatening people. Why has the Supreme Court bench not taken cognizance of the ongoing violation of mining laws? Our Republic investigation covered multiple locations, including Kotputli, Alwar, Lalawandi, Sikar, and even in the districts in Haryana. Not a single word was spoken against the post-sunset mining, the nighttime mining, rampant violation. Not a single mention of the misuse of licenses, violation of NGT orders, and DGMS norms. Why is this the case? Should this also not be a matter of public scrutiny? And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, I have something to say about this word that the courts unfortunately have used very, very sweepingly. Media trial. Today, with the greatest of humility, media trial, as the court says, would not be required, I would tell the courts, if the law enforcement agencies and the institutions didn't force people to raise it. It is very easy to cast this aspersion that serious questions, strong reporting, public interest reporting and campaign journalism is a media trial. And therefore, the question should be, why are other networks not doing what the courts call a media trial? These are not media trials. In my 29 years in journalism, I have raised several questions. Many of the campaigns I have done have served as the foundation for litigation and served also in several judgments given over the years. It is easy to classify and try and put everything together as a media trial. The court should know the Commonwealth Games scam expose was not a media trial, it was impact journalism. The court should be aware that the right to pray campaigns, which were picked up later by the courts, required activist campaign journalism, whether in the case of Shani Shignapur, Haji Ali or Sabrimala Shrine. It is not media trial, it is not sensational journalism, it is hardcore journalism. And the courts should also be aware, and I'm sure they are aware, that in 2012, when the Nirbhaya case shocked the conscience of the nation, it was because the media picked it up in an activist campaign manner. When we raise issues of VVIP racism, in fact, we believe that judges also should not have lal battis. It is not media trial, it is campaign-based journalism. When we campaign against Brij Bhushan, against people who are recruiting for the ISIS, against people responsible for the Morbi bridge collapse. And when we question why the Maharashtra government was quiet in the case of Palghar, when sadhus were killed openly and lynched, or when we ran the biggest campaign in the country, which I am very proud of, to get to the nub of the Sushant Singh Rajput case, why the police was in a hurry to label this as suicide. These are not media trials. Neither is Sengar a media trial, nor is the Adarsh case a media trial, nor is the Aravalli a media trial, nor is IPL1, IPL2 scam, in which both consequently in different occasions, once Shashi Tharoor had to quit, another occasion Lalit Modi was exposed, or N. Srinivasan we took on. These are not media trials. These are strong campaign-based issues. Journalism which has brought the truth out, told people the difference between right and wrong. And I'm fully cognizant and aware that there are various people who would be uncomfortable with a media network speaking so strongly for the people. To them, I would say we will continue to do it regardless. To the honorable courts, I would request the courts to commend the media, at least those media who are raising issues on behalf of the people. After all, this is all a system of checks and balances that our democracy equips us with. Democracy has given us the tools. If Republic is using those tools to fight for the people, I think it's not a media trial, it is service to the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, with the deepest of gratitude to each one of you who supported us in the Aravalli campaign and who are asking us, Arnab, is Aravalli a one-off? Is your asking questions for what Indigo did, its abuse of the system, a one-off? For those people who are asking us tonight that when you raise questions against Sengar, is that a one-off? Ladies and gentlemen, you've known me for a longer time. The only thing that sustains is public interest. Public interest is national interest. Let's debate.
After days of Republic exposing the Aravalli fight, the Supreme Court hits pause.
This is the condition of Aravalli Hills, and this is just one small section of this 2.5 billion years old mountain range. And this has been way before this new decision. So if this was the condition of Aravalli, we don't know, or we can just only estimate what is going to be the condition of the 90% of the range which has not qualified in the newly accepted definition by the Supreme Court. We just now felt this entire mountain shiver because there are blasts going on. As we were telling you, usually for the limestone mining, the acceptable range of the blast is around 1 meter, and that won't be so harsh that we could feel this entire mountain, this feel shake.
For weeks, the Aravallis were stripped, blasted and sold in plain sight. Republic went where files never reached. Into mines villages and illegal sites buried from record.
A decision which unfortunately, or rather should I say fortunately, even the former Chief Justice of India, Justice Gawai, who is the author of that report, could not, in my view, convincingly argue for when he came on a 20-minute interview with me a few days back. Now, we don't do only interviews. We don't do only studio journalism. We and our resources and our journalistic teams, our reporters, our camera persons, and our investigation team have done a 10-day multi-location ground investigation into rampant and brazen illegal mining in the Aravalli region. Our reporters have gone from village to village, mine to mine, district to district. We've been to Pawana Ahir, to Kotputli, to Alwar, to Lalawandi, to Sikar. We are documenting what the government said is not happening. We are documenting what authorities say is wrong. And I can challenge the government, I can challenge the authorities to prove us wrong.
Republic battered for court intervention, asking for Apex Court to reconsider the definition change.
For anyone to come out and say right now that we have the right to do something. I want to tell the courts, I want to tell the government, just because you have the right to do something does not mean you end up doing something, regardless of political or public backlash, which goes against national interest. I'd like to tell the government once again that in national interest, in public interest, revisit your own positions. Do not use this trapdoor logic that we managed to get the government to agree with our positions. And hence, we'll shoot off the shoulders of the Supreme Court to whatever we want. To the Supreme Court, I would say that empathy and conscience are extremely important. This whole attempt to create this central illusion that we will not allow mining doesn't make sense. Ladies and gentlemen, the new definition of the Aravallis is a de facto mining enabler. A de facto mining enabler. This is going to destroy the Aravallis, it's going to destroy the ecology forever, in a manner the government and future governments will not be able to change.
And then the interview that changed the tide.
I would like to begin by saying this, Justice Gawai, that I have a fundamental disagreement with your judgment, which as a citizen of India, I'm entitled to have. The Aravallis stood for 2 billion years. The judgment that has redefined them was delivered 3 days before your retirement. What was the hurry, Justice Gawai? The judgment was delivered on 20th November and you retired on 23rd November. What was the tearing hurry?
What followed was proof. Illegal mining thriving, swaths of land flattened, mountains reduced to rubble.
Right now, I'm standing in Pindwara district's Bharja village because there's a reason. All the villagers have been protesting since last 2 to 3 months against the project that has been signed by the state of Rajasthan with a mining company. You can see the area through our visuals. The entire area, around 800 hectares, will be given to a mining company. The project is set to start and a lot of houses in around 4 villages are going to go in this project.
No lawyers, no lobbyists, just people standing between machines and their homes. They said they won't move, even if it costs everything.
हमारे परिवार में तो 4-5 है मनकस मैडम बच्चा गुजर गया हमारा डोकरा हम दिया वो मजदूरी करके हमारा पेट भरवाता है बड़ा मुश्किल दिया एक तो सरकार से घर आई है एक पतरा वाला हमारा मेहनत से बनाई है 2 घर है हाँ यहाँ ही रहना है हमारा कहीं नहीं जाना हम मर जाएंगे पर हम कहीं नहीं जाएंगे बस यहाँ ही रहेंगे.
And the clincher, a mining operator offering money, caught on camera because Republic stayed.
नहीं सर मैं सब क्या बताओ छोटा सा उपहार है या आपके
नहीं सर,
अरे ये क्या? अरे नहीं सर,
बिल्कुल मैं समझ रही हूँ आप, मैं सिर्फ आपको जानकारी
नहीं वो आपकी बहुत बड़ा मेरे से मैंने ये भी आपसे निवेदन किया कि कभी भी आपको मेरे से सिस्टम से संबंधित किसी प्रकार के आप जानकारी चाहिए तो आप कभी भी 24 घंटे मुझे आप कॉल कर सकती हो, मैं जो भी उपलब्ध है आपको जानकारी। लेकिन ये आपका ट्रैवलिंग में देखो आप बहुत खर्चे हो रहे हैं
सर, मैं समझ रही हूँ और फिर मुझे वो मिलता है।
When the authorities looked the other way, Republic forced it to look back. Tonight, when the system was silent, Republic spoke, and the Aravallis won.
I'd like responses to what happened today. I'm opening this up, right? First to Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, while I welcome Vaishali Rana, Vimlendu Jha, who are trustee of Aravalli Bachao, founder of Swachh India, former principal secretary, government of Haryana, MD Sinha, Somnath Bhartiya Vap, Savio Rodriguez, editor-in-chief of Goa Chronicle, J. Anand Dehadra of the Supreme Court, and Susi Ben Shah, prominent social activist and spokesperson of the Shiv Sena. Sanju, now, what are the lessons that are for the government and for the Supreme Court and for everyone in this Aravalli case, in your view?
You know, Arnab, we've always heard that there are 4 pillars in a democracy: the legislature, the executive, the judiciary, and the media. I think the Aravalli campaign is a classic case where all the 4 pillars have converged. And I think that is precisely the reason you saw that the Supreme Court actually took a suo motu cognizance of its own verdict, which was delivered on the 20th of November this year, and decided today to put the 100-meter definition in abeyance. My limited point is this: has the Modi government, by and large, always framed laws which are ecologically and environmentally friendly? Yes. As the executive, which is in power, has the Modi government done its job? Oh, most certainly yes. Has the judiciary largely interpreted laws correctly and ensured justice? Yes. In this case, as a responsible media house, did Arnab Goswami do the needful? Oh, yes. But I repeat, I do not stand in solidarity with the fake Greta Thunberg lobby, which will speak on XYZ in BJP-ruled states, but refuses to completely ignore what is happening in Punjab, where Parali burning is happening with brazen impunity, and nobody wants to question Arvind Kejriwal. You want to question Bhajanlal Sharma, the Chief Minister of Rajasthan? You're most welcome to do so. You want to hold power accountable? You should do that as a media house. You want to hold the Modi government accountable and show them the mirror? Please, gladly do so. You're welcome. But then, if you're not doing the needful, when there are landslides happening in Wayanad, if you're not doing the needful, when ecology is being destroyed in Karnataka, then you're certainly being selective in your outrage. And my problem, not with Arnab Goswami, my problem is with this selective outrage lobby, with the fake climate activist lobby. And I say, let's wait till 21st January 2026. Bhupendra Yadav, the Modi government's Union Environment Ministry, is headed by him, and he's welcomed the Supreme Court judgment, saying that it is in line with what the Modi government said on the 24th of December 2025, no new mining leases in the Aravalli region, particularly in Gujarat, Delhi, Haryana, and Rajasthan.
A point of clarification. A point of clarification as far as the information that I have, that between the 2nd of December and the 18th of December, in a great hurry, Vimlendu, my information is that 58 mining licenses were given. Some people say the number could be as much as 100 between the 24th and this particular judgment. Would it not be necessary to know, A, which companies were granted those licenses, B, which companies those companies work for, C, whether those licenses will also be cancelled? Vimlendu. Because no new licenses is good. What about those that were given in the license rush period?
Absolutely, Arnab. So imagine the Environment Minister of India actually came forward and said no new licenses will be granted, but reality is that more than 150 licenses were actually granted. 20 of them were actually in Alwar district alone, and this is between 2nd December to, say, 15th of December. So, of course, because of the campaign that you were running and the backlash and the embarrassment that the government faced, is why suddenly the environment minister had to come forward and say, oh, well, mining is banned and no new leases will be actually offered. But reality is today, if Sanju Verma says that, all these people have an agenda and they're anti-national and they're selective, therefore Justice Surikant also, CJI is also... Justice CJI also is anti-national or has a selective agenda in that sense. Because tonight's debate, Ms. Sanju Verma, is not about whataboutery. We are talking about a specific natural resource called Aravalli. We are talking about a natural resource called Aravalli that was compromised, primarily the definition.
To this point, I would say, Vimlendu. No, one minute.
talk about the illegal mining in Himachal Pradesh. My limited point is you have an agenda.
Your proposal to the Chief Justice, your proposal which became a law on 20th of November has been reversed. Your decision, your definition has been reversed.
Then
Please
you should be very
accept,
clear
rather than
that when you come on
raising it
national
out
TV,
Sanju, louder.
As an environmental activist, you're talking as a politically motivated activist who will only target BJP-ruled states,
Keep
but
moving
will
on the right.
consume Fevicol.
Today, I was actually talking about Himachal and the
you
crisis
consume
that Himachal has been...
Now, may I come in for a moment out here? Vimlendu and Sanju.
You do nothing.
Vimlendu and Sanju, if you allow me to come in. Vimlendu and Sanju, if you allow me to come in. I think see the Sanju and Vimlendu, please. Let's move this in the right direction. Now, my question here is this. What is happening here is that only point that I'm trying to make today is that, you see, again I go back to the question, and let me take that to the experts out here. Mr. Sinha, I think I asked you this question earlier today, and Jay was reacting to this. If it is true that 58 mining licenses were given in the 16-day license rush period. See, I have no angle in this. Let me tell you firstly. This is an AMA session where I began by saying, ask me anything. People are saying, are you now pro-opposition, anti-government, pro-BJP, you've changed your line. I said, this is complete rubbish. Fact of the matter is what is right and wrong. Giving licenses in a license rush period, anticipating a review of the judgment is unusual. And maybe when you give licenses in a hurry, Jay and Mr. Sinha, you can end up making a mistake. So I would just want to know whether those licenses will now be cancelled. Jay, what do you think? Will those licenses also be cancelled? Because the judgment is in abeyance.
Arnab, if I may just say, if I may just say a few things first. Firstly, I tip my hat to you. This is an example, this is a sterling example of A-grade journalism. I think you brought up really important points and nobody else in the mainstream media did it. And for that, I tip my hat to you, and I think most of this country would also really appreciate you for doing that. Having said that, during this period, if any new licenses have been granted which are perhaps in conflict with now, the judgment which has been put into abeyance,
yes.
According to me, those licenses also will have to be stayed.
Cancelled.
That is the short point. However, if they're only renewals, and if they've already gone through a system of checks, and if they're in compliance with the law of the land, I think those licenses will be valid. I think these are two very important distinctions that we need to understand.
Yeah, I think that's important. You see, there are various questions which have been raised here. The only point I would like to respectfully put here, and Vaishali is on, MD Sinha is on, is that I just want to say one thing. Viewers, by the way, Sanju, if you don't mind, I'll say something. Don't respond to it. I'll say something to you. It is not you or anyone else. It is yours truly and Republic which exposed the Greta Thunberg toolkit for the first time. We were the ones who found the toolkit embedded in her social media profiles, and I did a series of 5 shows on it, right? So you must thank me. And in fact, it was the hashtag toolkit and all that was used by us, including, these are popular phrases we use, Tukre Tukre Gang toolkit. So you know that the last person on planet Earth who's a quote-unquote NGO type is me. But if I found merit in an issue, then I should be asked, Arnab, what happened? Why did you find merit? I'll tell you what. bench said that
want me to respond to this?
No, I don't want you to respond to it. I want to ask here that on issues of environment, we all come together, this country will change. And on this issue, there are 12,000 Aravalli hills. Only 1,048 cross the 100-meter threshold, that's 8.7, which means 90% are vulnerable. Now, even if you say, Arnab, that's a gross exaggeration, you are a sensational judge, blah, 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 terrible. Fact is, okay, it's 80%, 70% are vulnerable, it's a terrible thing. Look at the level of exploitation, look at the level of structural devastation which has happened out here. I don't know if it's going to be possible, because the problem is that the moment I raise an issue like this, it becomes Somnath Bharti versus Sanju Verma. No.
Oh my God.
No, it should be a non-political debate, right, Vaishali? We can all get in. I mean, today the Supreme Court has shown the openness. This is a non-political debate. It concerns us all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
How can it be non-political when you have politicians in the debate?
Now, why is it not? No, not in that sense. Okay, Vaishali, please.
Inserting politics in this.
You want to elaborate on that?
You're talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. I thought you empathized with what I said about being non-political, so yeah.
Yes, why are we inserting politics into this? This is about, we are not talking about BJP or Congress, it's about the Aravallis. So we should stick to Aravallis. We should stick to Aravallis, and today Supreme Court, exactly for this reason, because it is about Aravallis, today CJI, put in abeyance the old order which was brought in by the ex-CJI. Exactly for this reason, because it is about Aravallis. I mean, why it is their favorite topic, politicize every issue and equate everybody with Greta Thunberg. Sorry, it does not work like that. And people who are working with us, we have been working on ground for many years. And when they bring up the topic, why aren't you talking about Himachal? Why aren't you talking about Karnataka? So, well, we are talking about Himachal also, and it is happening in Madhya Pradesh as well. Today in the evening, I was on Republic Bharat, and I spoke about the rampant mining that is happening in Morena. Hills have disappeared in Morena as well. So they should look where they are going wrong instead of politicizing the whole thing,
Yeah.
And after that, there is another...
Sanju.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, no, I thought Sanju raised her hand there. Susi Ben also raised her hand. Yes, Susi Ben?
No, a very good evening to all. And I just want to say that we are indeed happy that environment protection has come center stage, thank you Republic TV, and also the public outcry. But I would just like to say this, that complex environmental issues by the Supreme Court taking cognizance of it, have realized that it needs balance, it needs scientific study, and it needs the view of the experts. And that is exactly what has happened. Now today, I and Sanju are on this show, yes, as political activists. I'm very proud to be a part of NDA and of Shiv Sena, to say that we are equally concerned with the environment. After all, public outcry, public good, nation first, also is very, very important who's governing the country. And therefore, I would like to reiterate that we in the NDA take environment protection, take the welfare of the people who have livelihood and are
Susi Ben, I want to ask you a question. I'm sorry to keep going on. If the license were auctioned between December 2nd and December 18th, I'm only raising the question of unnatural haste. The former Chief Justice passes the verdict 3 days before he retires, right? I'm not raising questions over his motive. I'm not questioning the motive. I reiterate, I'm not questioning the motive of Justice Gavai. I'm questioning the timing of Justice Gavai. I asked him to his face. Then the licenses are auctioned between 2nd of December and December 18th. They fall immediately after the Supreme Court verdict, but before the government's no new licenses decision. No. This creates a grey zone. Right, Savio? No, this is where investigative journalism begins. A grey zone happens. Then I can ask, were the authorities racing against a political or a judicial clock? Were the licenses processed on the belief that the window may be shut?
No. Let me reply to this.
No, absolutely. That's a valid question.
Yes, Savio?
That's a valid question.
Savio.
At the end of the day, the timing of the judgment, the timing of the leases that were giving out are questionable. And on issues of environment, while I do believe that the Narendra Modi government works on environmental concerns, this particular example goes beyond that, where the Narendra Modi government and the state government over there have actually failed to look at the environmental concerns. And when it was raised by the Republic and other media channels as well, particularly the enforcement of Republic, the investigations of the Republic TV, is when the Supreme Court decided to keep it in abeyance. Why did it keep it in abeyance if they did not have a question mark? If it was absolutely 100% judgment and there was nothing to be worried about, why was the judgment kept in abeyance?
No, the judgment was kept in abeyance.
Obviously, there's a question.
It needs to be examined. The entire...
Exactly. So why does it need to be examined, ma'am? It needs to be examined because there are questions raised.
If you don't allow me to speak after one sentence...
Yes, please go on. No, nobody gets angry tonight.
Therefore, I'm not angry. In fact, I'm very satisfied.
Yes.
And I congratulate once again that public good, nation good has been heard by the Supreme Court suo moto, by the highest constitutional authority of this land. Now, having said that, about the licenses that you told me, I would like to say this very categorically, that once a cognizance is taken by the Supreme Court, all the licenses which have been issued, legally or otherwise, will be kept in abeyance.
No, but one has to ask, however, Sushiben, one must ask, however, and I'm getting MD Sinha in, because I know this debate is going to become very explosive now. Sanju, I'm coming back to you. Just a question here. See, I have no angle in this. I'll tell you this. I have no angle in this, but my job is to tell the Rajasthan government that it is my information कि ये शिकायत पत्र यानी कि गंभीर प्रतिवेदन किसी ने रखी है. मैं नाम नहीं बता रहा इधर. Sanju, please look at it. Somebody has put out a complaint saying that दिनांक 20/12/2025 को थाना सोएंसो कोटपुतली पुलिस द्वारा मुझे एवं मेरे बच्चों को अवैध रूप से उठाकर बर्बरता पूर्वक पीटने, सोएंसो अपमानित करने, झूठा मामला दर्ज करने तथा सोएंसो सीमेंट कंपनी के दबाव में कार्रवाई करने के संबंध में कड़ी कानूनी कार्रवाई हेतु. So the person has said, there is one person who's put a police complaint saying, me and my family have been tortured, my relatives have been beaten up, my nephew has been beaten in his private parts because I'm questioning the mining being done by a big mining company, and I'm not mentioning which company because it is getting into legal terrain. See, these are now not nice things. If a whistleblower is being beaten up, the Rajasthan Chief Minister must take action. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I've never disputed that law and order of the state subjects and state governments need to be held accountable. My limited point is this, that on the 24th of December 2025, last week, the Modi government, much before the Supreme Court's verdict came out today, categorically said no new mining leases will be given out in the Aravalli region and no new renewals will happen too. So I think we did not wait for the Supreme Court to take cognizance of its own judgment dating back to 20th November. We decided to crack the whip. That is my point number one. My second point is this, that if Arnab Goswami has done such a stellar job on the Aravalli issue, I would, as a civilian, for a moment I'm keeping aside my hat as the national spokesperson of BJP. I want Arnab Goswami to take up the case in Karnataka, where more than 12,000 hectares of forest land have been completely weeded out. That land has become bald, as a bald eagle. In Himachal, 3,900 hectares of land, complete deforestation.
That does not mean you plunder the Aravalli just because someone has done the bad in Karnataka.
I want Vimlendu Jha to speak about Telangana, where 6,700 hectares of land
didn't you say just day before yesterday that Arnab is in the agenda? Right now you're congratulating him.
No,
Absolutely you must. But will you talk about Karnataka? Will you talk about Himachal? Will you talk about Punjab?
I'll talk about Himachal, I'll talk about Karnataka, I'll talk about West Bengal. Therefore this whataboutism should not work.
Okay, so
Arnab a person with agenda.
I have the one minute. The only what is my agenda in this? See, I'll tell you this thing very clearly here, Vimlendu. Let me tell you one thing, Vimlendu, and to all of you. right? I run the only independently owned, editorially owned, largest editorial shareholding news organization of this scale, not in India, but in the world. The only agenda I have and the only thing I'm guilty of.
Sanju Verma told you you had an agenda.
No, that's all right. That's
No,
that's no problem. No. If I tell you, Sanju, let me tell you, Sanju, let me tell you one thing. Sanju, listen. Vimlendu, Susi Ben, may I come in for a minute? May I say one thing to you, Sanju? May I say one thing to you? This, by the way, is the first tweet on the Greta Thunberg case ever put out, where Republic at 8:04 p.m. on the 3rd of February 2021 says, those who are part of this conspiracy to incite violence in India are refusing to accept the consequences of their actions. This Google document shared by Greta Thunberg exposes the plot in its murky details. This was the first hashtag. By 9:10 p.m., within 1 hour and 6 minutes, Sanju, of our putting out the tweet, Greta Thunberg deleted her tweet. By 9:27 p.m., live edits were being done on related documents she shared. We exposed Greta Thunberg to the world. But that does not mean, I tell you, that does not mean that I have a view that all environmental activism is bad. What I'm saying is we are going to use a toolkit to... Kejriwal, okay, now Somnath Bharti, your friend is here. Your friend, by the way, I'll tell you one thing once. 1 minute. I'll tell you an inside story. I'll tell you something.
86% of drug cases in India originates from Punjab. I want Arnab Goswami to do a big story on the drug menace in Punjab. Will he do it?
We have already done it many times over.
No, will you do it now?
Well, you were not...
I'm not talking about what you did in the past.
Listen.
Will you do it now?
Sanju, can I say something?
Sanju,
are you going to be rhetorical to your own self? At least listen. Now, listen. Sanju, the answer will be the same even if you ask me 20 times. The question is this, that...
The problem with you, Arnab, is that you also have...
All right.
Please permit me to rebut because she's speaking nonsense.
One minute.
She's speaking sheer nonsense on the national TV.
A question here, please.
She's absolutely nonsense today in every word what she's uttering.
You guys all have to calm down, then I'm coming in. Before Somnath, you respond. Somnath, before you respond, let me tell you this. One thing which I tell you. One thing, I want to tell you this, Somnath, and then Sanju, and then you can talk. See, today, there are so many media companies in the country, I'm not naming anyone, who will look at the monetary advantage of not doing an investigative report. I'm putting it bluntly, Vimlendu knows what I'm talking about, who say, by not doing a report, we have more to gain. And Savio knows, he runs a media company. Right? When we have done a ground reality through an on-camera sting and shown the footage in a very, very, very raw way, please do not imagine that this Supreme Court decision today has happened without our intervention. I am not claiming credit. My lords, don't think we have an exaggerated sense of self-importance. But justice is not given in a vacuum. Today, the court has said it will examine whether the definition created a structural paradox, whether non-Aravalli areas were expanded, whether mining in gaps was permissible. All that I have done is use our investigative skills honed over 20 years of investigative journalism from CWG to now in the case of Aravallis. The only thing we can be accused of is why didn't you speak for Aravallis earlier? To which we say, yes, we should have. But we are one network, we can't do anything. Somnath, now you can respond to Sanju. By the way, I'll tell you, Somnath Bharti, nobody has questioned the Punjab government, Delhi government on issues of pollution. I have always said the biggest mistake was by Arvind Kejriwal. The first decision was when he came to power the first time, he relaxed the norms for several industries to operate, polluting industries to operate within the NCR. And that is the day I had on air doubted his intent. But Somnath Bharti can respond to you. Somnath Bharti can respond to you.
Arnab Goswami, you used to question the BJP which was not in power in Delhi. I remember doing a zillion debates with Priyanka Kakkar and other spokespersons. You used to ask questions of the BJP, whereas it was the Aam Aadmi Party that was in power in Delhi.
No, come on now. Okay, fine. I've asked questions. Okay, so can Somnath respond to you? I didn't give the mining licenses.
Of 55 crores.
Thousands of times.
One debate that you did on
Thousands of times you are factually incorrect. You are factually incorrect. In fact, you have come on many. I find that you have a frightfully short memory. But we'll have to discuss your short memory later. Everyone on, and Somnath can respond. Somnath Bharti.
Permit me to rebut because she's speaking continuously nonsense.
Calm down, everyone knows.
She's absolutely speaking nonsense on the national TV.
Speaking gibberish.
I must tell you. Will you please permit me and ask her to be mum for some time? Allow me peaceful time.
Is there a conversion mafia in Punjab? Yes or no?
Please do not.
Is there a law and order collapse in Punjab? Yes or no?
Will you please stop speaking? Allow me, otherwise I will not allow you to speak at all. Let me tell you.
Sanju, he has not intervened even once. Mr. Sinha has not even spoken. Ladies and gentlemen, let him come in. I request Somnath Bharti should be allowed to speak. Sanju, after that, please, thank you. Then you can contradict each other after that.
Permit you to speak.
Yes, please.
Verma is talking nonsense.
I
Not the point. The point
Sir,
and your
enough first of
Sanju, you hear him. Sanju, you hear him and then respond. No, please. Thank you so much.
A corrupt
continue, no.
Mafia looks like.
Do you owe her something?
Why has Vibhav Kumar been made the political advisor?
What is nonsense going on?
I want the answer.
Has he gone mad?
Okay, now no personal. Sanju, I request you for a moment to let him intervene. Thank you very much. Okay, everyone on, not only Sanju, please don't aggravate this. Somnath, go and speak, yeah. It's my program. You don't wait for your turn. You don't wait for your turn on my program.
Let me congratulate you. You were one of the loudest voice demanding judicial intervention on the Aravalli issue. And today, I must admit, you succeeded in taking up the conscience of the nation on this issue. See, this judicial intervention, which came, of course, it has only stayed so far. It has not gone back to the earlier stand.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, what has happened is a welcome step. And what you were saying earlier about CJI deciding 3 days in advance, prior to his retirement, etc. In a recent case, a district judge had done pass some judgments prior to few days of his retirement, and Supreme Court has spoken very harsh on that thing. Possibly Supreme Court. I mean, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but what you're saying possibly should be looked at for all courts. Then, see the way you had. I remember being on your show. One of your women journalists had almost risked her life in exposing this land mafia.
But what about the mining mafia in Punjab? I have got some prima facie documentary information which I am beginning to investigate. See, please do not think that this is going to be, people are saying, are you going to continue to hit out like this? I will hit. Now, I have got some information that there is a lot of illegal quarrying that is going on in Punjab. Are you going to take a principled position on that too?
BJP spokesperson.
Are you going to take a principled position on that too?
That's the whole problem.
No. Are you going to?
If you're determined to allow your show to be hijacked by BJP.
No. I'm asking you, not Sanju. I'm asking you. What about?
Let me know.
I'm asking. Will you stop the illegal mining in Punjab? I have certain areas which are about 21 square kilometers. Initial information. I'm not sharing more.
Will you permit me to speak?
Yeah, but will you stop the illegal mining in Punjab?
Will you permit me to speak, sir?
Of course I am. You're not listening.
Oh, will you permit? Then you go and seek answers from me.
No, I have information of 21 square kilometers area where illegal mining is happening in Punjab. This is only my prima facie initial information. I am still doing the investigation.
Allow me to speak first. You do the investigation, all right. I give you open challenge today on the national TV, Arnab Goswami ji. Go in Punjab, do investigative journalism and find out. Aam Aadmi Party is the first government in the nation which has gone after mining mafias. Nobody dares to do this.
Okay, we'll find out. I'll verify and call you back. MD Sinha, I take that. MD Sinha, why did the court not wait for a writ petition for an intervention in court? Why did it go suo moto?
In Alwar, 70% Aravalli.
See, Arnab, the campaign started by you and then picked up by rest of the press people also was very, very vociferous, and it basically the courts also understood that there was something wrong with the last order. And well, justice hurried is a justice buried kind of, that's an old saying. So that is why they took it up suo moto. And interestingly, they did not allow any argument in court. So they just came well prepared. They had 10-12 points.
Yeah.
And they highlighted the fact that you need serious domain experts to look into this matter and come with a report. But let me also get back to a very important point that you raised regarding the grant of licenses. Any mining license issued after 20th November is void ab initio, and the mining secretary concerned has to cancel those orders, otherwise he would be held in contempt of court.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that.
How governments work. As regards the 24th December press note is concerned, banning mining, government departments don't work on press releases. They work on government orders.
Government
no
orders,
government order was issued to back that statement. Number 3, minor minerals are a state subject. The government did not have any power to direct the states.
Told earlier also,
issue an advisory.
Arnab,
so these are facts that you should take into consideration.
Responsibility.
I think that
if we find out that
I think changes and corrections happen through court orders and government orders.
And so was the case while Congress was ruling.
Under the Congress, there was no
2005, 2006, they destroyed. Congress and BJP both are responsible. Both are responsible to finish Aravalli for sheer greed for money.
And 2015. Today, mines are given on
and this Punjab Parali,
after following the guidelines of the MMDR
Aam Aadmi Party government today.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this very point, I'm pausing. I have been live for the last 3 hours. I have one thing to say.
In spite of the fact that Centre, Delhi, UP, Haryana, Rajasthan, all are being ruled.
We will do everything. Viewers, can I be full frame at the end? I will do all. Today is a breakthrough. I am delighted that as we close 2025, we move towards a new phase of campaign journalism in 2026. There must be no asymmetry of power anywhere. Power to the people. Republic will keep focusing on issues which matter to the people, because unless you campaign, there won't be change. If you don't shout, you won't be heard. Noise? Absolutely not. Campaign with a purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make everyone uncomfortable who needs to be uncomfortable by pushing the idea of campaign journalism. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night and goodbye.
An element is born. Introducing the Phantom Black Edition by Grand Vitara. Nexa.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।